I have done and said some stupid things in this community. But without a doubt, the worst thing I have ever done was my treatment of mewtwospetwolf, aka Dom Erickson. In my very early days, I spent majority of my time ridiculing Dom as well as his creations. Some I felt were for the right reason, but the other times it was just to annoy him. Because of my stupidity and being a complete twat, I ran off Dom from this community as well as ruining his creations, teleporting spies, that he was making for years. Looking back at it, there was really no reason for me to act this way towards him. He did his own stuff that were ambitious for his age, and I pretty much cyberbullied him for it. It was stupid, it was useless, and it bring the worst in me and in this community. It is way too late to say this, but Dom, if you ever come across this video, I would like to apologize for being way too harsh on you, for making these constant videos about you, and pretty much turning the entire community on you. I should have known better, and there's no excuse for me acting this way. With me having now a different and more positive views on Dom, I think there's a chance to maybe look at this show, Object as War, a different light. Was I too harsh for it? Was my initial critique of it unfair?
Chair! Yeah, what do you mean?
Guys, we've settled this.
I am a chair! I'm so excited!
Shut up.
Nah, it's still bad. If you heard about this show, then congrats! You deserve a veteran discount, because this is one of the oldest and earliest Object shows, dating it back to March 28th, 2013. It was created before Season 2 of Nine Insanity, Object Overload, Object Universe, and the greatest creation of them all, Battle for the Object Kingdom.
Shut up, I'll win.
I will win it, you piece of shit.
Shut up, Happy Block.
Grr.
The production of the show started in early 2013, with his video asking his viewers to recommend some characters, which I thought was a nice idea. So nice that even I recommended two of my OCs as well. Can you guess which one? But I did end up with one of the more controversial characters, which I'll talk about later in this video. When the first episode was uploaded, it received positive feedback. Sure, it didn't have the greatest animations, assets and voice acting, but it did show promise. And again, majority of first episodes aren't really the greatest. Episode 2 improved some of the issues in the department, but they still felt there is a room for improvement. Then episode 3A came out and everyone hated it. Not because of the animation, not because of the voice acting, but because of that piece of shit, no good motherfucker. I'm getting ahead of myself. The most consistent problem with the show was the writing, both story-wise and especially character-wise. I have never seen so many one-dimensional, boring characters in one Object show. That must be a record somewhere. Don't believe me? Here is a rundown on all the characters in Objects at War, including Host. He is your generic host who hasn't done anything wrong, and despite that, he's being hated by everyone and being blamed for every problem with this show, despite not being responsible for any of it.
Don't give the character enough screen time. These are shorter episodes, maybe you should take a break.
Chair!
She is a chair. She keeps saying that in the first episode, and she said that she walks in the woods in episode 3. That's it, just a happy-go-lucky object.
Yeah, what do you mean?
She literally has one line in this show. Next!
Hi, Bone.
She is so in love with other characters that we will talk about in a bit, and gives out to her friend that they are being in love as well. So not only she is a creep, but also a hypocrite. I also found it funny that when that character was removed in episode 4, she felt sad, but when he was gone in episode 3B, she didn't feel anything. At all.
If they're not here, then that means we won!
Another member of this pudding gang, yet with somehow less personality despite the screen time he receives. He is also dating a photo, which was the reason why Box was making fun of him for. But I think it was dropped in episode 3B. Also got a lot of his loyalty for him in episode 4.
Stop talking about Bone, we don't need more hate on this show.
What? No.
The winner of this show, as well as the OC of Dom Erickson. If I'm being honest, He has the best backstory and abilities out of all the characters, but his personality is very lacking. He is this ninja head who should have been a badass, yet he sounds like a wannabe Batman. No. And is it me, or is he a little bit OP?
Show off.
He hates Darkhat. We don't know why, so I assume that's because he's racist. Oh, and he's voiced in episode 2 by Sam from Object Universe.
But I hate you!
Well, you don't really have a choice.
Is this the last time I have to do this?
Ah,
Yes, that's my Aspirin. To be fair, I haven't gave Dom proper directions to her, which explains why she's so underdeveloped being a generic goody two-shoes character. That also dies constantly. I was going to say that was because of my drama with Dom, but this happened before the fiasco. And why she has arms?
What?
He is supposed to be a generic evil character, but he hasn't done anything bad in this show. If I'm being honest, PSP was being more of a jerk because he stole his key that Lava found fair and square. Regardless, because it's 2013 Object Show, being characters were thought of first.
Pick me!
Oh, for fuck's sake. He's not doing anything other than look like a cartoon reviewer in episode 3B and asking to be big in episode 1. Other than that, he stands there in the background. Thank goodness I gave him and Aspirin a distinct character in Last Object Standing.
What are you talking about?
I'm just going to play this scene to explain my issue with this character.
So, you think just because I'm a remote I can't be any blackish color? Well, you are mean and that's pretty offensive.
he didn't put us in. Ah, why?
In episode 1 he's acting like a massive spasmoid, but throughout the series even he grew tired of his own shenanigans.
What is that big thing over there?
Is he a child? Is he a little genius? Because he created his own recovery center? I don't know. He appears for like 20 seconds, so it's not like anyone would care if he disappeared.
Screw it. I'm going.
And what makes you the team leader?
Character voiced by Suitcase voice actor, who somehow is less interesting than the Suitcase from II2. Oh, and she's also not loyal to her team.
Hey, Light Hat, let's go.
But we're on separate teams!
Oh, pish posh, let's go.
Okay.
You know, no offense, but you kind of talk about PSP quite a lot.
I thought that was a cracker or something. At least I know that she is meant to be a smart character. Not like she's any good, but kudos for trying. He's supposed to be a caveman, but instead he comes off like a wannabe potato from Battle from the Wish. If you know, you know.
Hey, iPod, hi.
He has literally no lines until the last episode, and even then he's told to shut up. Oh, and he won the season as well. Guess the writers love him playing Rebecca Black. Look at this photograph. Every time I do, I question what her character is, other than being PSP's lover and probably dead in episode 3A.
OMG, Star, you're not allowed here. Get out, get out, get out, get out.
Her entire shtick is complaining about her and everyone else getting not enough screen time.
OMG, Bone and his friends have way too much focus on this show. Come on, camera people, here's our love. Come on now. I hate this new guy. He talks too much. Once again, with the talking, I haven't had a single line since... I haven't even said anything for a while. Again, with the talking. I thought you were gonna give us all equal screen time, remember?
Yeah, the main issue why everyone is so underdeveloped is because almost no one gets the screen time to develop or show any personality. I know episodes are short and there are like 19 characters, but at least try to evenly distribute them throughout the episodes. Have some characters in one episode and others in the next, and they will develop by itself. And no, complaining about it throughout the series doesn't solve the issue. Especially having the producers of the show coming in and firing the host. It's like if you're working in the supermarket in the baking department and burn some bread and put it out for sale. But instead of complaining to the baker who made the mistake, you complain to cashier. Shit, even producers got more screen time than majority of the contestants. And I still have the balls to complain about lack of screen time.
Yeah,
Which is part of the reason why we are hosting in the first place. To make sure that all characters get equal screen time. So Wii Remote, the crappy host, got 4 more votes this episode.
So, other than Darkhat and maybe Box, we don't know much about host, contestants, producers, whatever this abomination is, or any other additional characters appearing throughout the episode 3. Except for one object, who will go down in history as the most controversial character of all time. Bone. You know the character is bad when there was an issue with him even before the show began. For those who don't know, Bone was recommended by Friesfan, who as it turns out, was a stolen character from the other show called Awesome Object Opposition, as not addressed in the first episode.
You were in Awesome Object Opposition? It was cancelled, so I thought I could join.
Apparently the character originally belonged to Theop, but I'm not 100% sure. On top of that, on the release day of episode 1, Friesfan has been disqualified from debuting in a camp called Battle for Gold Palace for using fake accounts in order to join the game. The news was pretty known by the time, since he got also sacked from other camp called Battle for K Kingdom a few weeks earlier for doing the same thing. In other words, people hated Fries and Bone, hence they tried to eliminate him in episode 2. Sadly it didn't work. I blame Friesfan's fake account for it. You would think that after these news, Bone would be either eliminated or had limited screen time. Instead, he was shoved down everyone's throat for the next couple of episodes. At the start of the series, Bone didn't have many lines, but he was being praised by other characters on how amazing he is.
And that's how Bone defeated Lava Lamp in the arena. That's so cool. I can't believe you did that, Bone.
Following that, in episode 2, Bone decided to die and had a weird flashback where he was in high school being beaten up by a surfboard and hitting on Popsicle. Despite being unconscious, his own team put him up for a challenge. However, it's because this is Bone and he's a god, he won the challenge for his team. Episode 3A and B. Oh boy. Again, the episode starts off with showing how Bone is cool and funny, and surprisingly, he doesn't show up later until the halfway through the episode. Friesfan and Hagatry notice something in the forest, and Fries decide to go back to HQ.
I know who it is. Get back to the high Q.
Oh, I'm sorry, High Q, and bring Bone with them. Just because. Then we have this story about how Bone's old girlfriend, well, still maybe, Popsicle, called him and informed him that she is being kidnapped by Snowboard. Since this is a one Bone show, everyone's worried about him and try to help him. In the meantime, Bone is disqualified from the game until they sort the stuff out, because apparently everyone needs him as soon as possible.
Well, I'm afraid we have no choice. Bone, until Objects at War is clean of any danger, you are to stay here at Noah's Productions headquarters. So technically you'll be eliminated until further notice. If you wish to leave the building for any cost, you need to bring one of us with you. Do you understand? I guess so. Can I still help my friends save Popsicle? Of course, and we'll help along too. We need you back in the game as soon as possible.
And then we have this disturbing line.
And I also wanted to say that whatever you do, hurt Surfboard as much as possible. Of course.
In 3B, all the Bone stuff were toned down a little bit, but we still had a scene with him explaining why Surfboard kidnapped Popsicle. Well, it's because he's evil.
But what was he like? What's Surfboard like these days?
Completely evil. He's got possessed evil people with him, and yeah.
And then he left the building and probably died. No, I'm being serious. This is the last time we see Bone, Chair, and toilet paper. Well done, producers, for putting them in danger in this deadly forest.
The next challenge is to race for the dark forest. It's a very deadly challenge. So, go!
Let's not worry about 17 innocent objects. No. Bone is sad because his girlfriend is gone. That's more important. And you know, the story could have had some potential if it wasn't for the fact that Bone has a negative charisma that makes everyone turn off the show and watch AI instead. Despite being on the show half the time, we still know what his personality is and why we should care about him. He is a literal definition of Gary Stew. And even to this day, people make fun of it.
Mitten, brick, bone, salami. Oh! What? What did I do wrong?
Oh, it's nothing, Oodle. It's just that no one here likes me.
Why?
I don't know.
In other words, Bone sucks. Now the question is, if Bone was so disliked, why was he getting so much focus on this show? As mentioned before, Friesfan was one of the producers for this show, and he was the one that recommended Bone along with Box and PSP, other characters that have been receiving quite a lot of screen time, meaning that he was responsible for writing for this story. Honestly, looking back at it, I think the whole Bond fiasco was Fryce's fault, which explains why episode 4 is boneless, which makes this entire story completely pointless. I don't think Dom is at fault for the Bond stuff. Granted, he should have put his foot down as he was the leader of the project, but at least he finally got rid of the issue in episode 4. However, between episode 3B and 4, something really awful happened. And despite what I said at the beginning of the video, even I cannot defend this.
Everybody, YouTube, we're all here to discuss one situation. A war that we accidentally started, but now the war's about to end, and we have a bit of a couple rules that we have put together about the future object shows that people want to make.
At one of his live streams, Dom was not happy about the news that someone was making another object show. He thought that there were too many unpopular object shows that were getting attention.
It all started today when me and Webbs were thinking that there are too many object shows out there, and we tried to cancel a bunch of like the unpopular ones that aren't getting attention.
I want you to think about this for a second. Cancel unpopular shows because they're getting popular. On the same stream, Dom, Webbs, and Toon Prince started listing shows that should be either staying or being removed. One of the days I remember on the gone list was SOB by Waglow and Toon Prince's show. Yes, even people making this list weren't safe. Then they can out remove Toon Prince's show as well. Later they took this live stream down and decided to make a full video, listing all 20 rules in a video called Object Show Constitution. This video also had DNN, Mega Animazing, who was just chilling, and Justin, the voice of Dai from II, who I don't think wanted to be here.
Alright, Justin, you can read rule 2.
No.
And the rules. Oh god. The rules. Some rules are impossible to achieve, such as rule 3, which expects every episode to have the same number of views. I don't think even BFDI has ever achieved that. Some rules are inconsistent, such as rule 2 and 5, which stated that you can only cancel your show after publishing episode 3, and you must delete them unless they are well animated, creative or original, according to them. Or rule 8, don't ever copy, unless a majority of the rules is just be original. In other words, pure travesty. I would go on about these rules, but Joseph Howard already made a good response for it in the Google Docs, so I will link to it in the description. But yeah, we have a lot of rules to follow just to make an object shows, but how many of them did Dom follow? Let's find out in the final episode of Objects at War. Rule 3 is already broken. Even despite his deleted videos, I doubt episode 4 got more views due to ongoing drama with this constitution. Rule 6.
Target, Brady, how's it going?
Wow, I saved you 10 with Fox.
Yeah, this is not good voice acting or animation at all. Rule 7. Well, he's not doing any of the stuff at the moment, so... Okay, I'm kidding, I'm not counting that. Rule 8. I mean, come on, this is an object show. Of course it's going to copy something. Like this remote from BFDI, that also breaks rule number 9. Rule 10, well, despite how bad it was, the show had an original plot. But with rule 11, pfft, you can fuck off right now. Rule 12, poop is bad, but boogers are fine. That is stretching, I know, but in the previous episode they wanted to hurt someone as much as possible. Rule 13, no random things, eh? I rest my case. Rule 15 has been broken since the start of the series, and Rule 16... Isn't that tune from Object Universe? Might as well put Rule 17 as broken as well. So, there you have it. 10 broken rules out of 20. That's a half of the list. I'm glad that in the end this list got scrapped by pretty much everyone, especially people involved in this video. But, to put out a list like this, expecting everyone to follow them, and then you are breaking half of them, is uncool. If you expect people to follow your rules, you need to follow them as well. Regardless, this list tarnishes his reputation. More people turn on him for trying to be a dictator in this community, despite not being that known in this community and making a subpar object show. After episode 4 has ended, Dom packed his bags and left this community as well as YouTube. To this day, no one knows what happened to him, but I hope he's doing well at the moment, despite what has been said and done. That concludes the story of Objects at War. It is a bad show, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't really consider it as the worst. At least don't try to come up with something original and adding extra subplot for this show. In the end, it failed, but that was because of certain enjoyer of French fries. Fries fan did quite a lot to harm this show, however, Dom also has sort of tarnished his reputation a little bit with his Object Show Constitution crap, which immediately flopped. I think Dom regret that he ever made this rule set, and I wish him all the best in the future projects. That is, if he's still on YouTube. This show will always be remembered as one Bone show, due to how he was spotlighted all the time, despite being so boring. He is literally a Poochie of object shows, always being the star of the show. While he's not here, characters still have to talk about him.
Whenever
Bone
is not on screen, all the other characters should be asking, "Where's
Bone?"
And at the end, he died on the way back to his home planet.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
I'm on a blimp. I'm on a blimp. Everybody look at me, cause I'm dueling on a blimp. I'm on a blimp. I'm on a blimp. Take a good hard look at the motherfucking blimp.